Ms. Galander here? Ms. Goldberg?
Walters Ferraro, 10 members present, the quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, the council will please come to order, and that includes you, Mr. Burnson. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 10th day of February 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. So the first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Hernandez moves, Mr. Misakowski seconds. If there's no objection, unanimous vote. The next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
If there's no objection, unanimous vote. Next item.
Before taking up the regular agenda, Mr. President, you have several items to continue. Item number 2 on the agenda, the applicant requests continuance to April 21st, 99.
Is there any objection to that continuation? Seeing none, that will be the order. The applicant.
Before we continue this, Mr. President, because the Planning Land Use Committee took a position on this, I want to know whether Ms. Misakowski would like to have this continued or not.
Item number 2, it's in a 6th district.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at 1.
But Cindy, do you have a view?
I'm sorry, okay.
It's okay. All right, the next item.
Next item number 4, the applicant consents to a continuance to March 3rd, 99.
Okay, this is Ms. Misakowski. Do you agree? Okay, so there's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Item number 10, Council Member Chick's office request to be continued to Friday.
Is there any objection to continuing 10 until Friday? Seeing none, that will be the order.
Item number 29 has also been requested by Councilmember Chick's office to be continued until Friday.
Is there any objection to continue until Friday on item number 29? Seeing none, that will be the order.
And on item number 34, the closed session, the CAO requested that item be continued to February 24th.
There's no objections to that, so that will be the order. Okay.
On the regular agenda, Mr. President, you have several confirmations of city officials. Item number 5 is confirmation of Linda J. Smith to the Commission on the Status of Women.
Is Linda Smith here?
She's not, I don't think she's here, but Goldberg's office said to go ahead with it.
It's a reappointment. Is there any objections to taking this up? If not, Ms. Galander moves. Any discussion? Mr. Hernandez? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
Next item, items 6 and 7 are confirmation to alternates for the Community Forest Advisory Committee.
Are they here? Miss Jo Walker, Mary Jo Walker, and Eleanor Torres. Eleanor Torres. Is there any discussion on these two? Mrs. Torres is not here, so we'll...
No, I'm Mrs. Torres.
Huh?
I'm Mrs. Torres.
Oh, you're Mrs. Torres, but Mrs. Walker. Mrs. Walker's not here. We'll show her. We'll reappoint her anyway. We'll appoint her anyway. So, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
They're approved, and we'll send those forthwith, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
serving the city. The next item,
Next item is item number 17, is to confirm the council president's appointment of Dr. Cynthia Ann Tejas to the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families.
okay, is there any discussion on this appointment? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
See, that, the
you.
wait was long, but we confirm you, and we want to thank you for serving the city.
I'm honored.
Thank you. Okay, the next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 1 is a Planning and Land Use Committee report.
Is there any public hearing required? Anybody want to be heard on that? We have a card from someone, but they said that they, unless there's opposition to it, they, Ms. Sikowski?
Mr. President, I don't believe we need to have the public hearing. They are just here to monitor the council's action. The committee heard this, as Mr. Bernson indicated, did grant the appeal on the part of the community, and there was actually a withdrawal of the application. So this confirms all of those actions in granting the appeal.
Okay. Then we'll prepare the roll on the committee report, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
That is approved.
Mr. President, I'd like to have reconsideration of item number 29 and hold it on the desk, please.
It was moved to continue by Mrs. Chick.
Yes, that is a motion that I brought in, and it would seem to me that we need to have some understanding of what the continuance is based on, and we can clarify.
She's not going to be here today because I think she had an accident and broke
Well, we
her
want to
foot or
express
something.
our
Yeah.
sorrow for her accident.
I think Mr. Hernandez kicked her, so she would be, they'd be on equal footing.
Mr. President, for the last 4 weeks, I've been starting my speech by letting everybody know that my foot has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Keep working at it, Mr. President. So let me see if we can get some clarification on what the continuance is about. Maybe we can clarify it. What are we doing?
Okay, well, there's no objections. We'll reconsider item 29 and have it on the desk. We haven't gotten there yet, but we'll call Mr. Bernson's anxious, so we'll try to accommodate him. He doesn't get anxious very often. Next item.
Next item is item number 3, a required public hearing.
Is there anybody in the chamber who wants to be heard on item number 3? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. We have no cards. Any discussion on 3? A motion is needed, and we'll call on Ms. Galanter to move. Mrs. Walters to move. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
That is approved. The ordinance will go over 1 week because we do not have 12 members present, and an ordinance on the first reading has to be unanimous and with at least 12 members present. Next item.
Next item, items for which public hearings have been held, items 8 through 16.
8 through 16, we took care of 10 already, didn't we? That was
Yes.
continued. 8 through 16. Anybody want to be heard on any of those items? That's one. Okay, prepare the roll on 9 through 16 with the exception of 10, which has already been acted on. Tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Those are approved. Again, the ordinance on number 9 will go over 1 week. Next item.
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 18 through 32.
18 through 32, we have cards on 23 and 38, so we'll call those special.
Also, 25, John?
No, let's see if there's any hearing. Anybody want to be heard on any of those items?
Yeah, 23 is already called.
Okay, the public hearing's closed on all those, but except 23 and 38. Any specials by
Yeah,
councilman?
25, please.
Mr. President, I was going to request that item 24 be sent to the Community Economic Development Committee.
24? Is there any objection to sending that to committee? Seeing none, that will be the order. Mr. Savornich?
Yes, I'd like to ask
items 31 and 32 go to IGR committee and come back within 30 days, please.
31 and 32?
Yes, they should have been introduced, not Rule 16, but gone to IGR.
Okay, is there any objections to that?
Come back in 30 days, please, within 30 days.
Seeing none, that will be the order. Mr. Holden will take it up in due time. He's an outstanding chair of that committee. Next, yeah. Okay, what do we have left? We'll vote on what's the balance. We have,
You have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 26, 27, 28, 30.
okay, prepare the roll on those. Tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Those are approved, except 18, or it has an ordinance, and it'll go over 1 week. Next item,
Next item, Mr. President, item number 33 on the regular agenda.
yeah, the second part of that will be referred back to committee. No rules and election. This is, council may approve or disapprove only. This is the ballot simplification and the bond issue for the police, fire, emergency, and other public safety facilities. It will be the only one on the ballot, so prepare the roll on that. The bonds for the math, environmental, and science educational facilities will be referred back to committee. Rules and election. Tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
That is approved. You can ask for that, and I will grant it. That will be the order. Next item.
Item number 35 is ordinance first reading.
Any discussion on that? Item 35 is called special. That's 2. Next item.
On the continuation agenda, item 36 is a Housing and Community Redevelopment and Substandard Housing Committee report.
Any discussion on that? And we're talking about 36. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
That is approved forthwith on that. Next item.
Next item on the continuation agenda, items 37 and 38.
Item 37 is a special. Next item.
You have a card on number 38.
Yeah, we'll call that special.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 8, called special by Councilmember Holden.
All right, Mr. Holden, if you press your button, we'll give you the 3 minutes.
Before I press my button, oh, I'm sorry. All right, good. I just go ahead and talk. Mr. President, members, as you know, these garages have been a really menace to my community, primarily. I'm sure they've had problems in others as well. But we have not been able to get all of them to comply with the existing ordinances. For an example, the Building and Safety has an annual inspection, and some of them are still being cited for non-compliance. Now, Mr. Burnson, obviously, or someone is bringing this ordinance in to give them some extended liberties to park their vehicles as being repaired in the front lots. So maybe somebody can explain it to me, Mr. President, because we've been pretty strict on these auto body repair shops and strict enforcement, but not too much compliance. Maybe Mr. Burnson can tell us about it. Mr. Genovese, you want to tell us? Oh yeah, maybe hold my time, Mr. President. I got 2 minutes left, as they explained.
Okay, forthwith on item 33. I thought I said that.
You know what, Helen asked if we could do it, so...
I thought I said it.
Okay, well...
That's a way, we'll do it.
Cora Smith, Code Study Section, City Planning Department. This ordinance was prepared in response to many problems that the community has experienced over the years with the auto repair industry. And We were hoping that by allowing the institution of an area for open storage, which in effect is semi-open because it will be required to be enclosed with a 6-foot-high Vista block wall or concrete block wall or wood, so that the auto repair businesses that do not have anywhere to put this storage will be able to place it in these areas and not be cited by the Department of Building and Safety. It will be at least a minimum of 1,000 square feet. It cannot displace any of their parking requirements. But the key issue on this is that the existing auto repair businesses that are in existence prior to December 31st, 1998 will have to come in to the Office of Zoning Administration and file for a plan approval type application, and will be considered whether or not this meets all the requirements, and there is no other place on their lot for them to put this open storage. We also are requiring, as part of this ordinance, that any new auto repair business that goes into effect will have to automatically provide a minimum of 500 square feet of storage area for these as part of their auto repair business. So there will be no question when they come in for their permits and applications to convert their buildings or construct new buildings that they will be required to have this new storage area provided.
No, Councilman, I think if you wanted to hear from the Department of Building and Safety regarding their enforcement capabilities that'll be enhanced as a result of this ordinance, as a representative here.
Good morning, Inspector Herrera, Department of Building and Safety. Under our Vehicle Establishment Inspection Program, we have about 6,200 sites. Approximately 1,600 of these sites, existing sites, the structures are located in the rear half of the property, and therefore the only possible storage would be in the front. The amendment to this, which City Planning has forward, has identified securing and enclosing these open storages, also identifying residential uses within the vicinity and also residential uses in the C-zone. Provisions have been looked at to allow a minimum of 6-foot solid masonry walls to enclose these, and also a minimum of 1,000 feet of open storage.
What about the auto repair shops that are not in compliance right now? And they parking in the front? Are they violating the law?
Right now, as the ordinance is in place, they are in violation for open storage in the front part of the lot, yes.
What are they doing to comply?
Right now, we have them on hold, depending on the outcome of this ordinance, the amendment to this ordinance. If the amendment is not adopted, then we will go forward, issue the appropriate orders, and discontinue the use of their operations.
And if it's adopted, how much time do they have to comply?
We would use the standard time. We would give them an order to comply to the amend ordinance, usually 30 days.
And then they will come in and make the request for the change?
Correct.
And what is that permit called now?
They would come in and, first of all, they have to review with city planning that their particular site would comply to the amended ordinance.
Okay, now what about the new applications for auto body shops? You still need a conditional use permit for that as well? This will not modify that request?
Correct.
Requirement?
Correct.
So this is it's better, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
You're giving them an opportunity to comply with the existing law?
Correct.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Burnson.
Yes, first of all, I want to commend Cora and the planning staff for coming up with some ordinance, with an ordinance that I think is going to improve the situation. What we had before was a lot of people not in compliance. They had two alternatives: either go out of business, which I don't think we really intended to put a lot of people out of business. We want to improve the situation as far as the sites were concerned. This will affect all of those which are not in compliance now, and will set a standard for all the new applications in the future. And I think it will improve drastically and dramatically the appearance of the neighborhoods where these, whether they're next to residential or whether they're strictly in commercial or industrial areas, it will definitely improve the appearance of these types of businesses, so I would urge an aye vote. And again, I want to commend the staff for this.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope I misunderstand something here. There's an auto repair shop in my council district, and I was talking to its owner. I was talking to him, we had to kind of shout because of all the noise at the site. The noise was emanating from the construction that he had recently begun for a cost of almost $1 million to put a covered roof over what had been a sort of a driveway leading into the covered part of his business. In other words, there's the business, there are the racks and so forth, he's working on cars, and there's a driveway. And the driveway had been the place where cars waiting to work had been parked. That was deemed to be in violation of the rule that we had put in place. So he's spending all this money, like right now, to comply with that rule. Now, is what's happening today an ordinance that would exempt businesses just like his from the rule that he has been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to comply with?
No, it wouldn't.
No, he's now, the point is, he will have spent a lot of money, as others have in the city, to comply with the law that it seems to me we're saying is no longer going to be on the books.
The original ordinance did not permit the workings on the automobiles in the open. It was allowed in an enclosed building, one side open. The ordinance also prohibits the use of automobile hoists in the open.
No, that's all right. He has a covered enclosure in which working on hoists takes place. There was a driveway, a flat piece of cement leading to that, on which a number of cars were parked, and occasionally, like, say, while the hoists were all being used, if someone needed, like, the air put in their tires and stuff, or the oil checked, they would happen up in front. That was deemed in violation of the rules. He's spending all this money now to comply with that rule. Does this ordinance say that no one else has to comply with that rule anymore? They have to apply, but they can be exempted from the rule, correct?
Councilman, not knowing the true specifics of the particular site.
Look, my point is that here's an example of someone who's been trying very hard to comply with a rule that we put in place. I think it was at Mr. Holden's initiative that the rule was enacted. It was designed to improve on a situation in which blight was being created in neighborhood after neighborhood. Already there's a disproportionate effect of the rule because of a whole bunch of scofflaws out there who've been ignoring the rule. Some, like this guy, have been in good faith trying to comply with it and spending a lot of hard-earned small business money to make it happen. This rule, it seems to me, says they don't have to make it happen anymore if the city says you can be exempt from it. Is that correct?
We're not making them exempt. They still have to have they can have up to 1,000 square feet for a storage area.
He's not talking about storage.
Yeah, Bob, help me out.
Okay. Councilman, as I understand it, you're referring to the actual working on the cars as opposed to storage.
And at night, they left cars sitting there because they had parking. This is a parking thing. What's going on?
The actual work still has to be within an enclosed building. There's certain minor things that can be done outside the service bays, like doing batteries, certain other minor things, and we're in a small way modifying that. In terms of major work, changing a set of tires.
But the way you're modifying that is no longer-
Mike, your time is up. Mr. Hernandez.
Members of the council, my understanding is we made a change in an ordinance that basically put a lot of automobile repair shops out of compliance. Is that correct?
This amendment will help them come into a compliance.
Yeah, but they were operating before, and then we basically said you couldn't store automobiles in the front of your place. Is that correct?
Correct.
When did that change happen?
Approximately 1989.
1989. Now, the reason I want to bring it into, I wanted to make sure we understood that change that we had made at that time, because I have automobile repair shops in my district who've been trying to comply and gone through tremendous expense. But as part of that compliance, what they could not change is the footing of their buildings. The reality is they were able to create the the garage where they would do their work, and put the doors and remodeling and all these other things. And then they put walls around, and they still have to store vehicles in the front. And that's what this would allow them to do. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, I'm kind of sharing it because I've seen some tremendous work happen in my district by automobile repair shops who are trying to do it right. They're trying to do it right. But even though they're trying to do it right, because of the basic footings of their buildings, when the buildings were originally structured, they were out of compliance. And that's what this I think, is going to allow to happen. And, I think that the law that we passed in '89 is having an impact on the industry, but it's a positive impact. Because I see automobile repair shops, and I'm talking about the ones doing good work, the family-owned ones for generations who've been in part of those neighborhoods. And I just know they want to be in compliance, and if this allows them to do that, I'd be supportive of it. And I just kind of want to explain, because I have automobile repair shops that basically have no walls. What they have there looks like more like an oil depository place, and they're out of compliance, and we're trying to make sure they comply. And it's a hardship on them, but they have to comply. And then I have ones who've been doing a lot of work to improve their locations, but because the basic footing of the buildings, their reality is they have to be able to store their cars in the front and not in the back.
Kowski?
I was going to clarify for Mr. Fuhrer, and in fact, it may be that the work that's being done in the instance that you cited is more than what would be required under the new strategy. Clearly, from the law that's been in existence since 1989, any open storage was illegal, so someone attempting in good faith to comply was creating a complete storage coverage. What this does is it would have required some expenditure of work, because there would have to be a wall, there would have to be some filing of fees coming forward to the zoning administrator to show minimally how there could be some, if not covering, some shielding of the open storage area that would remain. So it may be that what the person is doing is more coverage than would be required under the new ordinance, but also if it's fully covered, he can do more work there as well as fully covered, because then it's not going to be out of compliance with the law saying any work that can be done in a covered area. So I think this is attempting to modify the law from 1989 that says no storage could occur in the front. This says storage may occur in the front if there's clearly no area in the back. If you do come to the zoning administrator and file a plan, if the zoning administrator can show that the wall that you will create, which won't be chain link, won't be old lumber, but will be a solid face kind of wall that makes sense in the front of a lot in any community, is an attempt to create a shielding and create an environmentally sensitive area where that storage can occur. So it may be that there was some more than required work, but I think that the owner will benefit because he will be able to do more there than what would be allowed under the new law.
Thomas? No one else wants to be heard, so...
Previous question, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, no one else wants to be heard, so prepare the roll on item number 8. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved, but it is an ordinance, so it'll go over 1 week. Next item. Thank you.
Next item is President number 25, called special by Councilmember Fuhrer.
Yeah, we'll do that next, later. Get 23, 25.
We're teaching people how to count here now, Mr. President. Boy, progress is being made.
Who called 25? Mr. Fuhrer?
I did.
Okay.
Thanks. You know, this council engaged in what at the time was said to be historic work to attack slum housing. We enacted this $1 per unit fee. We promised that units would get inspected on a regular basis and that we would fix what was really broken. What was broken, according to our Blue Ribbon Commission on Housing, was that we had a complaint-driven process that was opaque to people, that people didn't really have access to, particularly in the neighborhoods where slum housing was most prevalent. This was our way to fix it. Unfortunately, what has happened in practice breaks that promise, and worse, makes even less accessible the complaint-driven process we had before. It's the worst of all possible worlds. Now, Mr. Savornich, in chairing the committee, to his credit, is trying to fix this problem. All of us are trying to fix this problem. We have a report before us But the report, it seems to me, could benefit from a little more specificity as I've been reviewing it since the day we had that hearing. So I'm going to move to amend the report to get us information that's more precise as quickly as possible so that we can actually keep the promise that we made to maybe a third of the city's population who live in substandard housing every day of the week. Now, instruction number 7 is the area I think where the action needs to be. I think just inadvertently there was no date by which the report must come back given. And I'm going to recommend that March 3rd be the date, since that's the next hearing I think that Mr. Cervornich is conducting. With respect to the balance of that recommendation, item number 7 is an attempt to get all the relevant city agencies involved to coordinate and say, let's take another look at this. How can we really fix the problem and not just pretend to do it? Having said that, we need to get the following information. I'll move to amend the report in the following ways. First, find out precisely how many staff members and how much money we need to respond to the complaints that are submitted to us. How many complaints precisely does the housing department receive? How many complaints do not get handled by other inspection programs? How many re-inspections does each complaint require? How many additional staff members are necessary besides field inspectors to respond to the complaints? Now, and finally, I think it's important for us to, in very precise terms, have building and safety come back, and Mr. Hernandez focused on this as well, and say to us, what happened to the funds that were allocated to building and safety when building and safety transferred the multifamily residential inspection program to housing? Where is the money? At the core of this is the following dilemma as I conclude here. We said we're going to spend the dollar per unit inspection fee to have this systematic citywide inspection program. Instead, that money is going in the main to responding to complaints. Allegedly, there was no money allocated to the complaint process. This broken system needs to be fixed with this very specific level of questions and answers, because otherwise we're going to have people living with rats and roaches and a hole in the wall and no hot water, and that's not right.
Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of the council, I also rise in support of what Councilmember Fuhrer has just stated. And the problem is a very simple one. We as a city had the Department of Building and Safety deal with residential inspections. And the reality was that we did not fund them the appropriate amount of money for them to do that. And so what ended up happening is we got behind, and it wasn't just behind, we had a complaint-driven system, it wasn't a systematic system, and then we developed a systematic code enforcement program and justified charging a fee in order to get the program done every 3 years. Now, in transferring the program, I want you to understand that we've mixed what's commercial and what's residential, because we want the housing department to do a systematic code enforcement program. But they also, for example, are now beginning to do motels and hotels that are used for residential, and we haven't determined what's what. So what that means now is that the housing department currently would be responsible for inspecting the Biltmore Hotel, would be responsible for inspecting a commercial establishment that charges a transient occupancy tax. And the reality is, I don't think that was our intention when we were talking about a systematic code enforcement program. And that has to be straightened out. There has to be a clear understanding of what is residential and what is commercial and who has what responsibility. Meanwhile, you need to understand that the Department of Building and Safety still inspects single-family homes that could be used as rental units. But their staff is also limited. So they're going to be using not a systematic system, but basically a complaint-driven system. Now, I think that the only solution is for us to have these figures that Mr. Fuhrer has talked about, but also have a clear understanding of what it takes to fund. Because if we don't fund a complaint-driven system, we'll never catch up to be able to develop a systematic code enforcement system. But currently what you have is neither one functioning very properly. And the reality is a lot of inspections in limbo, like who inspects commercial residential establishments that are basically collecting transient occupancy taxes like the Biltmore Hotel. Okay.
Mr. Savornich.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Mr. Fuhrer and Mr. Hernandez are absolutely right. One of the problems that we discovered in the, and sadly so, within the, both the Housing Committee and the Ad Hoc Committee, was that when we transferred the function of these inspections from the Department of Building and Safety to the Housing Department, the positions went, the funding didn't, which has caused this entire fiasco in regards to gaping holes in regards to our inspection process in the city. The Housing Department inspectors are so overwhelmed in regards to complaints, as my colleagues have said, that we are not able to go to the systematic code enforcement. Number two, the other thing that we found very disconcerting in committee is that because of this overburden of the complaint-driven process at this time, hotels, motels are not being inspected. The commercial portion is being inspected, but the residential portion is not. And so we have formed together a working group that is working together in conjunction with the mayor's office, who has made a commitment that the funding will be considered and will be forthcoming, that we can have this to the next ad hoc committee on substandard housing before the next meeting. Mr. Fuhrer, I think your amendments today are very good. But I do believe that we have to get on with this, and we have to fix this, and we have to fix this quickly, because there's the reputation of the city at hand in regards to a program that had all the merits of being a fantastic program in regards to improving the quality of life, as many have said, to up to a third of our city's population, that got befuddled in red tape. And that's exactly what happened. And so at the next ad hoc, we need to act on this, we need to move forward on it, because I am sure that the Housing Department's inspectors want to get out there, clear the complaint-driven process, and get on to the work of the systematic code enforcement. But under the situation that we have now, we can't do it. So let us go ahead and pass this today with Mr. Fuhrer's amendments, and let us get this before the ad hoc so we can get it going.
All right, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Previous question, Mr. President.
Mr. Burnson wants to be heard, so let's hear Mr. Burnson.
Mr. Burnson?
Yeah, it
Previous
seems
question.
to me that one of the things that are the worst complaints were things that were dealt with in our emergency repair service. Now, we've passed that ordinance, I believe, and I just wonder how the enforcement is taking place, or are we performing? Now, what we did in the ordinance, we instructed the Building and Safety Department to set up a list of, somebody want to come up and address this? We instructed, I guess, Housing and Building and Safety to set up a list of people that we could call to effect these emergency repairs if they weren't taken care of in 48 hours by the owner of the building. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now, it seems to me that either we're not able to enforce this or to comply, or we haven't properly publicized it so that the tenants who are having these problems understand that they can get relief. If they don't have hot water or their heater is not working, they shouldn't have to wait for a period of time while it's in the rent withholding situation. They ought to be able to get relief after 48 hours. And that's why we enacted that legislation. Now, I'd like to know what we're doing to let the tenants know that that exists, and do we have the contractors available to take care of these things? What's going on? This was over 6 months ago. In fact, it was more than that we passed this ordinance. Now, can somebody tell me what's going on with that program? That would seem to address some of the things we're talking about. One more thing, and I'll sit down and let you answer. One of the ways we can free up inspectors is the fact that HUD, buildings that are under HUD, are inspected 3 or 4 times a year by HUD. So that releases inspectors, so we don't have to have duplication on those particular buildings. I presume you've already taken that into consideration?
Yes, we've worked with HUD.
Okay, what about the situation on the emergency repairs
We are enforcing that as we do the residential code enforcement program, the systematic. We cite owners that they have to repair within 48 hours. Once that's done, we follow up on that. We do have contractors. All of the owners to date have responded within the 48-hour period.
We've not had to lien anybody or anything like that, right?
No, not yet.
So we are getting results with the 48-hour notice?
Yes, we are.
Well, it seems to me, members of the council, I hope people who have talked on this are listening, because what we need to do is we need to let the tenants know, is there some type of mail piece that we can put out, maybe in conjunction with a bill that they receive? Telephone bill, water and power, I guess, may go to them or the landlord, I'm not sure in many cases, so I don't know if we can count on the landlord to make them aware of it, but there must be some way, Channel 35, the other means that we have, any means we have of communicating, and perhaps if we have a list of these buildings where problems exist, we could put some kind of a special notice up in these buildings, or let them know that that type of service is available, because that will answer a lot of questions and a lot of emergency-type things that are not being taken care of now that are falling through the cracks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Is 48 hours, is that reasonable?
Go ahead.
Huh?
48 hours an emergency. If there's an emergency situation, is a 48-hour notice given?
Emergency.
Emergency notice
It's a
given,
life
yes.
safety issue that could be very serious.
Okay, Mr. Ridley Thomas moves the previous question. There's no objection, so we have the item before us. So prepare the
Along with Mr. Fear's amendment.
Yeah, as amended. There's no objections on that. So 25 as amended, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved forthwith. All right, we have a special 2 that has to be acted on right away, so, because somebody has to go back to Washington. All right, can we, Gail, would you explain?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The Special Census Subcommittee in the U.S. House of Representatives will be holding hearings tomorrow to consider...
And they want our opinion on this.
To consider the Local Census Quality Check Act. And they are considering doing a post-census local review, such as the one they did in 1990. It is a problem in terms of undercounting, and therefore, Mr. Hernandez has brought this special in, asking that we oppose this legislation and any similar legislation. The Council needs to make the findings that the need to act arose after the posting of the agenda and that there is an immediate need to act. And Jesse Hines is here to discuss the issue if there are any questions after the Council makes the findings.
Okay, is there any questions regarding the findings? If not, prepare the roll on the findings, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay. Did you want to say something?
Just very briefly, thank you, Mr. Ferraro. It's important that the council go on record opposing this legislation as it's currently drafted, because it's essentially saying that they're going to do this post-census local review instead of statistical sampling, and the city is very urgently needs the statistical sampling to correct for the undercount.
Okay. Mr. Holden?
Oh, this doesn't have to go to IGR, Mr. President. It's an urgent matter.
Okay, prepare the roll on Special 2, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. I'm sure they're all waiting back there to find out what the City of LA is thinking. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 29, called special.
Who called 29 special? Oh, Mr. Ridley Thomas.
I think we can move the matter as was originally intended, all as well, and I would urge unanimous vote. These organizations...
You want to ignore the chair of the committee on these items? She wanted to request it be continued until Friday.
No, to the contrary. The chair of the committee is speaking, Mr. President. This is not a public safety item. This is the committee that was impaneled pursuant to the Justice Department Community Projects for Restoration that Mr. Hernandez and I have been shepherding for the last I guess, 5 years now. The inquiry came from Ms. Chick, has since then been informed by the CLA's office what this actually is, as well as the mayor's office on criminal justice. Her staff now indicates that she understands what the issue is, and we are prepared to proceed.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez? All right, prepare the roll on 29. I'll have you explain to Mrs. Chick why we didn't continue it.
Right.
Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
You didn't explain it to her. Next item.
Item number 35, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden, 35.
Doesn't 23 comes before 35?
Yeah, I add up differently. Go ahead. 35 is before us, Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, yeah, I just want to hear more about this signage ordinance, and if you just want me to withhold, and then you can move the agenda, I have no problem with that. Discuss it next week.
Well, it's going to go over a week anyway, so.
Yeah, because this is, well, then have the staff tell us about this signage ordinance, and are we putting one on top of the convention center also while we do this?
Patricia Tubert, Senior Assistant City Attorney. This ordinance allows the signage criteria, which has already been approved by the council, to go forward. There is not a sign on top of the convention center, but they can put a sign along that curved green wall in the back of the convention center, the new area.
Curved green wall on top of the building or below?
Not on top, on the wall itself.
Mr. President, can we get a little order around here? Good, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It would be on the wall itself rather than on top, and it would say, it can say Staples Center or the name of the area and the Los Angeles Convention Center. Whatever they put as their name, they also have to put Los Angeles
They'll
Convention
have to
Center.
put the convention center on it also?
Yes.
It won't go on top of the building?
No.
It'll go around the perimeter on the curvature?
That's correct.
Well, how did this happen? Did they own the convention center or something?
This was part of the deal that was approved by council in October of
So they have a
97.
right, did we vote to give them the right to put Staples Center on there?
Yes, you did.
We did?
Yes. It is part of the reciprocal easement agreement. It was specifically called out
I
in the
never saw anything that
report.
said Staples Center in the agreement.
It is in the agreement. I can
It said-
show you
wait a
where.
minute, Staples Center, I never saw in the agreement, the original agreement that we all voted
What
for.
it's-
You voted for, I voted against.
What, I didn't get a vote, but.
I mean, the rest of the council.
What it says is that they can put their name, whatever that name may be, because at the time we didn't know. They also
It
can
was
name the whole
arena.
area.
We thought it was going to be the arena, right, maybe?
No, they had,
This is
they
sports
didn't have.
arena
it.
over there you built, right?
This is the arena, correct?
The arena. And the arena name is not going to go up there. It's going to be not the Lakers, not the Clippers, it's going to be,
The name of the facility plus Los Angeles Convention Center. That's on the convention center property. On their property, on their roof, it will say Staples Center.
so we never really had an agreement.
You're going to
with Staples
withhold,
Center.
Mr. Holden, aren't you?
Yeah, after hearing what I heard, Mr. President, I have no choice.
Yeah, well, you have no choice because it's only 11 here. Mr. Hernandez, did you want to be heard?
Mr. President, with all due respect, I want to commend Mr. Holden for being consistent, and at the same time, we should all recognize that his bid to call it the Holden Arena was just too low.
He offered 90 million and they got 100 out of the Staples.
But this is part of the development agreement, and, the reality is, I think that everybody's looking forward to the opening of the arena. We do have timeframes that we have to comply with as a city. It's also displaying to a lot of other potential projects in the city, the willingness of the city to make things happen. And I think that we, in developing this development agreement, have created a win-win situation for a lot of people. And I just urge an aye vote and for us to continue. For us to continue to try and stop something that's going to happen is not what I believe in the best interest of the city at this time. I have projects that probably won't happen or could happen, but a lot of it depends on how we as a city are reacting to these issues.
Okay, prepare the roll.
Are you withholding, aren't you?
Oh, well, it goes over 1 week. Next item.
Item number 37, called special by Councilmember Zbornik.
Mr. Savornich, you call 37 special?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Item number 37 are the amendments and the accompanying ordinances for revisions to the officeholder-controlled funds and the regulation of lobbyists in the city. And I would like to commend the Rules and Elections Committee for bringing it forward to this point. And the majority of what is contained therein I can support. However, in taking a look at the ordinance, there was an omission that I think is a very easy thing to fix that I would like to offer an amendment, and since the ordinance can't be acted on today because we only have 10 votes here anyway, one of the provisions, as we all know, within the office holder accounts is that we work on a fiscal year. We go from July 1st to June 30th. In regards to the legal defense fund of the office holder account, it's within the same checkbook, the same account. In regards to the legal defense fund, contributions can be accepted only per issue or per case. It's not tied to a fiscal or a calendar year. And so in order that everything would be the same and everything would match, I have motion number 37A, which would amend the language in section 5, which would say, no person shall make or no elected city officer or candidate shall solicit or accept from any person contributions totaling more than $1,000 to a legal defense fund per fiscal year as referenced in the statement of purpose. What this amendment does is makes the contribution calendar the same as that for the office holder, to which this is a part of anyway. So what we don't want to have is to have conflicting times or who can contribute to an account within an account. You want it to have it all the same, for bookkeeping reasons, for good government reasons, for all the reasons. And so since this has to come back next Wednesday anyway, I'm offering this amendment in order that the legal defense fund within the office holder account, that for those of us who have to take care of bookkeeping, which is any elected official that falls under this ordinance, the bookkeeping all can match and all the rules are the same for the office holder account. And that's my amendment, Mr. President.
Okay. Is there any, do we have anybody from the ethics? Is there any problem with that?
Good morning, council members. Leanne Pelham, Deputy Director with the City Ethics Commission. The Ethics Commission actually has not had an opportunity to take a look at the issue of whether or not the Legal Defense Fund contribution limit should be consistent or changed in any way. We would certainly encourage the council to approve the ordinance before it as is, refer the matter back to the Ethics Commission if possible for additional review, but we simply don't have a position on it since we haven't had the opportunity to take a look at it.
Well, this, okay. Mr. Savornich?
Yes, Mr. President. The only thing that this is asking is that the legal defense fund within the office holder fund be on the same calendar for contributions as the office holder fund. That's what it's asking. The ordinance, the way it sits now, office holder, what is proposed is that the office holder account, you can only accept $500 in a calendar year. The legal defense fund is $1,000 per administrative action or case. It doesn't say per fiscal year, it doesn't say per calendar year, it doesn't say anything in regards to a timeline. And so what I am asking that the amendment put both the office holder and the office holder legal defense on the same calendar. The contributions remain the same, 500 for office holder, 1,000 for legal defense. That's all it does. And I would ask that I vote on the amendment. It has to come back next week for the ordinance anyway.
Okay, Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, Mr. Savornich make a good point here. And the reason why, because if you ever audit it, then you got to look at the case rather than the calendar year, which makes it really kind of skewed and very difficult, and causes a really undue burden on the elected official who's really making every effort to comply. It's rather ambiguous, and it really is something that the commission ought to consider. What I would like to do then, if you want the commission to review it, because we are giving up something here. We're reducing the contribution from $1,000 to $500. Maybe we ought to just amend the ordinance and send the whole thing back to the commission for the commission to review. Because if they, rather than pass it and then try to amend it later on, is a big mistake. I think that if you want to amend it, it's a reasonable request. I'm prepared to vote. Somebody said, who'd second your motion, Mr.? Oh, I did? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, my time is still there. I'm prepared to...
You don't have to use it all.
Pardon?
You don't have to use all your time.
What did you say? I didn't call it special, Mr. Ferrara. Okay, and I got one more to go. The fact of the matter is that we can amend it and then refer the entire matter back to the commission and then let them take another look at it. Well, in that case, let's amend it today then and go forward. Oh, you want to do that today? Okay, fine. Let's vote on the amendment. She wants to go with the amendment. Go ahead.
All right, Ms. Misakowski.
In a compromise, why don't we, since we're going to be withholding on the first ordinance in any case, and we don't have 12 votes here, can I suggest and move that Mr. Savornich's motion be drafted in the form of an ordinance to be brought back next week with this one, so we'll have the two. That leaves the Ethics Commission the opportunity to look at the second version, would be alternate A and B, between now and next week, and respond whether or not there are any problems. It sounds like a clean-up technical amendment. I think it's better to have it all folded into one and acted on today rather than have this one lingering amendment go back to commission for who knows how long until we do the next cleanup version. So if that's acceptable, I would like to make that motion.
Mr. Fuhr?
Okay, Ms.
Mrs. Walters?
Get it right.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to hear from the Ethics Commission and Mr. Alperin, the city attorney, before vote is taken on this.
Did you hear her, Tony? She asked you.
I didn't hear a specific question. We're here to answer any questions that the members of the council may have. I believe that the Ethics Commission has an issue with regard to whether or not this goes back to the commission for its review.
I think the overriding question for the commission is, after a very long and arduous process of trying to revise the ordinance that you have before you, we would encourage the council to support the ordinance in full as it is today.
We won't be able to pass it today, you know, so it's going to go over 1 week, and Ms. Sakowski suggested that you review this and get back to us. Yeah.
Yes, I think we could do that.
Okay.
Question would be whether or not you and the Ethics Commission see this as a viable amendment, or if you see any conflict in it, or delay that would, or anything in it that would cause delay to keep the ordinance from going forward, other than the lack of 12 members here today.
The issue is purely a policy issue. There are no legal implications. If you want to make the change, you certainly could make the change. There would be no problem with it. But again, it's a policy issue.
And there's no conflict with the Ethics Commission?
No, we could certainly take a look at it over the next week and come back.
Okay, prepare the roll.
Can I just, excuse me, Mr. President, I would just also like to explain that because the time is gone for the operative date, the ordinances are being amended with the council's approval. The the operative date for the lobbying ordinance would be April 1st, 1999, and the two office holder ordinances would be July 1st, 1999.
Okay, there's no objections to that amendment, so withhold, we'll go over 1 week. Okay, and then next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 23.
Yeah, we have some people who want to be heard on this. There's two people who want to be heard, and I'm excused at 11:30, so I want to get this out of the way. Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, we had about an hour plus public hearing, and we made a positive recommendation to the council. I don't see any reason to have another hour of public hearing.
No,
So why don't we just 5 minutes?
Okay.
And they can select the ones they want to speak?
Yeah, they have already. And we'll,
oh, yeah, okay, fine.
Okay, we have Edward Hansen Edward Hansen, and please, and then Lynette Ferber, be as brief as possible.
President Ferraro and members of the City Council, my name is Edward Hansen. I'm pastor of Hollywood United Methodist Church, and I'm here to speak in support of this resolution. Our administrative council has gone on record in support of marriage of same-gender persons. From our perspective, this is an issue of justice, fairness, equal rights, and honoring the diversity of all God's people. No one should be treated as a second-class citizen. Persons of the same gender who choose to unite as a couple shouldn't be denied the rights that are automatically available to heterosexual couples when they get married. Those who favor the Senator Knight initiative claim to be protecting heterosexual marriage, but denying equal rights doesn't do that. The fact is, heterosexual marriage is weakened when lesbian and gay people feel pressured into heterosexual marriages rather than encouraged to be true to themselves and enter into same-gender unions. Instead of strengthening heterosexual marriage, the so-called Defense or Definition of Marriage initiative is a giant hate crime that denies equal rights and treats certain people as less valuable than others. I believe the City of Los Angeles seeks to be a city that celebrates the diversity of all its people. In that spirit, I believe the City Council must support the Feuer-Wax resolution. Thank you.
Lynette Ferber, and then Myron Dean Kwan.
Good morning to you. Thank you. I did speak with Mr. Holden last week. I told him I was nervous. He said, "What are you nervous about? It's only me." And now he's trying again. He's got more of you here. I am Lynette Sperber. I am 56 years old, and I am the mother of a son who is gay. I represent PFLAG, Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And we are a nationwide organization of approximately 425 chapters nationwide, 45 chapters here in Los Angeles, in California. My son is a productive, contributing, hardworking, tax-paying citizen of California, and he is being discriminated against. He is not allowed to have the same benefits and rights that my non-gay children, who adore their brother, are entitled to. Scott is 31, Jennifer is 30, and Michelle is 28, and my husband and I would like to see all of our children have the same rights, and by extension, a community that I am privileged to be a part of and that I love, that being the gay lesbian community. I would like to see them all have that same right, and I would love to see the council pass Michael Feur's wonderful resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Myron Kwan, and then Michael Eschlin.
Good afternoon, good morning, actually, council members. My name is Myron Kwan. I'm a staff attorney for Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund, the nation's oldest and largest legal organization. I'm also a member of the Gay Asian Pacific Support Network, the largest gay Asian group in Los Angeles. Furthermore, Lambda is co-counsel in the same-sex marriage case, Bear versus Miike in Hawaii. I ask that you vote in favor of Mike Feur's resolution against the Knight Initiative. I just have 3 quick points. Number 1, if the Knight Initiative is voted into law, that would be a major change in the law. This would be the first time that California does not recognize out-of-state marriages. It would have a patchwork effect upon our country. Number 2, it is unlike Los Angeles or California to legislate discrimination. In 1978, Californians rejected the Briggs Initiative that would have prevented the employment of gay teachers. And number 3, this harkens back to the racist laws that were out there many years, not too many years ago actually, the Chinese Exclusion Act and all the various laws that prohibited people of Asian descent from voting, owning property, and also prohibited interracial marriage. In conclusion, the Knight Initiative is wrong-headed and despicable and harms thousands of gay families that reside in Los Angeles. I urge you to vote in favor of Councilman Feur's resolution.
Thank you. Michael Eschlin, and then Taylor Flynn.
Good morning. My name is Michael Eschlin. I'm co-chair and co-founder of GLIDE, which stands for Gays and Lesbians Initiating Dialogue for Equality. We are an all-volunteer speakers bureau committed to eliminating homophobia. Since 1989, we have addressed tens of thousands of students of all ages, parents, teachers, businesses, about this particular prejudice. My fear is that your silence on this issue, what kind of message will it send? And what would the victory of Mr. Knight's divisive politics and scapegoating send? Every Tuesday I volunteer at a local high school with a Project 10 support group for gay and lesbian youth. There's one straight-A 17-year-old student there who, upon coming out to his parents, has been told that he will be unwelcome in his own home when he turns 18. He will be homeless midway through his senior year. If you are silent, no collection of perfect report cards can possibly erase the message he's getting from a society that says he is unfit as he is. Nearly every student in the class, without hesitation, has said they fully intend to marry a partner of the opposite sex, have children, and get divorced just to please their parents. This idea of family values is abhorrent to me. I hope it is abhorrent to you. As a gay man who does not have the freedom to marry my beloved partner of 20 years, I would love to tell these children that there's a place for them in the world. Look at what the City Council has just passed. Please do the right thing and give them and myself some hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The chair calls Failer Flynn, I believe it is. Let me put my glasses on. Did I get that right?
That's right. You got that right.
Okay, thank you. Taylor Flynn.
Good morning. My name is Taylor Flynn, and I'm a staff attorney at the ACLU of Southern California. The ACLU urges strong support for this resolution. Echoing the arguments made in support of laws banning interracial marriages, proponents of the Knight Initiative argue that granting equal marriage rights to gay and lesbian couples will somehow destroy the sanctity of marriage, but no one has been able to explain how allowing same-gender couples to marry will in any way affect the marriages of their neighbors down the street. The same proponents of the Knight Initiative also call for increased personal responsibilities for families. Ironically, however, the Knight Initiative denies same-gender couples the right to share in the responsibilities of marriage, including child support obligations. In addition, because the Knight Initiative denies gay men and lesbians their constitutional rights, the initiative guarantees costly litigation. Singling out same-gender couples, the Knight Initiative would deny recognition to other states' lawful marriages. This flies in the face of the constitutional right to travel from state to state, as well as the Constitution's mandate that states afford each other's judgments full faith and credit. Privately, citizens may disagree about the wisdom of individual marriages. These opinions ought not, however, be given effect by the state, particularly because the City of Los Angeles has long been a strong proponent of prohibiting discrimination against its gay and lesbian citizens. The ACLU urges the honorable members of the City Council to oppose the Knight Initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Mr. Fuhrer.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You know, I was thinking about the decision that my wife Gail and I made to get married almost 16 years ago. We could have chosen just to live together, but there was something qualitatively different about actually getting married, because in part of the traditions associated with marriage, and because in part of the fact that this is the one moment when the state looks at what it is that makes us most human, our capacity to love one another and really commit to it. And we wanted to have the imprimatur of the state associated with our relationship, as thousands and thousands and thousands of people do every day. We as a society encourage monogamy. We as a society encourage commitment everywhere except here. Make no mistake, the Knight Initiative is an attack on the humanity of the gay and lesbian community. That's not right. Ms. Flynn referred to a Virginia law which banned interracial marriage and the arguments that were raised around that law several decades ago. Proponents of the law said, you know, it's not natural for people of different races to marry. Proponents of the law said it would undermine the sanctity of the institution of marriage. And they said society isn't ready for interracial marriage. Those are the same arguments that are being made here. Well, I'm going to talk to you about practical issues, and I want to make a recommendation about, at least my own thoughts, about what leadership is. First, about the practical arguments. There are many, many important privileges that heterosexual couples who are married take for granted that at this moment, and if the Knight measure were to pass, would forever be excluded from being gained by members of the gay and lesbian community. Basic things, making decisions that are medical decisions about a partner in the event of a serious illness, taking bereavement leave or sick leave, visiting a partner in a hospital, having joint parenting, adoption, foster care, and other things. That just begins a long list of privileges denied to people only because of this one aspect of who they are. Now, I know what the polls say about this issue. They say that people aren't quite ready yet, a majority of Californians, to say that gay and lesbian couples should be allowed to marry. And I want to say to you that that is a poll that the Pete Knight team is trying to take advantage of here. But are we always going to be mere conduits for what might be the opinion of the moment? Or do we actually want to demonstrate some leadership on an issue that does implicate the deepest questions of what it means to be a human being and means to be a person? I want to close with this as I urge support for this resolution, which would oppose the Knight Initiative. If there had been no court case on interracial marriage, and this were an initiative that said that interracial couples couldn't get married in the state of California, what would we be doing with this? And how quickly would we be dispensing with it? And I want to ask, what's the difference between that measure and the one that's before us? Thank you.
Ms. Goldberg.
Yes, I just want to thank everyone who has their name on this. I guess it's Mr. Fuhrer, Mr. Wax, and now Mr. Holden from his committee. I wish I had been not ill and could have signed on, but that's all right. Obviously, this has very personal implications for me. In October, if I could have married, we would be celebrating our 20th anniversary. Instead, when I went into the hospital recently, we had to run around with my excruciating sciatic pain and find some attorneys to sign some papers that gave my partner a power of attorney so that if anything, God forbid, should happen, she could make decisions for me. When you get your W-2 forms, those of you who are married and your partners have benefits, you don't have any tax implications. When I get my W-2 form, I pay taxes on my partner's benefits. Those are just two of the practical differences, but the most important difference is how we're recognized in society. I feel married, but on every document I have to put single. I am not allowed by law, when I refinance the house, to list myself as anything but an unmarried woman, which is frankly a fiction. I am not an unmarried woman in any practical sense of the word. But that's how I have to list myself. And I think that it doesn't do the society any good. In fact, it does it a lot of harm to say to any group within it that somehow or another something about who you are as a human being makes it impossible for you to love and be in a committed relationship and start a family like any other two human beings. And so I thank all the people who've been responsible for bringing this forward and for all of my friends and colleagues who came to testify about it. But I hope that someday in my lifetime we'll look back and laugh about this and say, gee, wasn't that a silly idea that somehow or another two people who wanted to start a family were somehow not allowed, were seen as a threat to other people's marriages by them starting it. And I'm amused continuously by the number of people who are on their fourth and fifth marriage, who are trying to defend marriage by keeping me, who am in my first, from having a partner for life. I'm amused continuously by people in the news who have illicit affairs, who think that this is defending marriage. They are heterosexual who in my personal value structure are in fact attacking marriage by having those external affairs. I consider them the assault on marriage, not myself and my partner. But then that's one person's perspective. I hope one day we will all laugh about this, ha ha ha, and say, I don't mean to make light, to say that we were silly to have thought this way. But in the meantime, I think it is time for us to take some leadership, and I appreciate those of you who have done so.
Mr. Savarnich.
I wish there could have been something before us that instead of opposing the definition of marriage initiative, there could have been something that we could have supported, something that would give the respect and the choices as articulated by some of my friends here on the council have articulated. But I think one part of the conversation has been lacking, because the term marriage for someone who is a Christian Catholic is more than just a civil ceremony. It's part of my faith. It's something that is as much of a part of me as something else being a part of someone's sexual orientation. Being a Catholic Christian is as much of Rudy Savornich is as being married or a father or anything else. And it is unfortunate that we find ourselves in a place in time on February 10th in the council chambers of the City of Los Angeles that finds rights of people being in conflict versus a religious belief. And I most certainly feel the anguish that those who are not in the situation that I enjoy being a married man to a woman must feel when trying to care for someone in a hospital or choosing who a benefit goes to for health care and all that. And I believe that's a right and a benefit that they should have, because that is one's choice as an individual. However, because of the way this IGR report is worded and the way the initiative is worded, it's in conflict with my religion. Because canon law, a law that I also have to abide to being a Catholic, says that marriage is a union between a man and a woman. And if I choose to be a Catholic and a Christian, that is something that I have to adhere to. And I'm not willing to give that up today. Maybe sometime in my life, and I've spoken to some of you colleagues privately in regards to this issue, how heart-wrenching this is for me. I'm not there yet. But one of the things that I most certainly wanted to say is that I can understand the frustration and the feel of persecution or the feel of not being included and having to make some of the life choices that I would have to make if I indeed were gay or lesbian, and seeing heterosexual couples being enjoyed that. Those of you who can recall that in the late 1950s and 1960s, the spirit of the law then was separate but equal. And for those of us who know our history or who had to live that history, it most certainly was separate, but it sure wasn't equal. And so I would just hope today that those can understand that where I stand from, marriage is one of the 7 sacraments of my faith, as is baptism, as is Holy Communion, as is confirmation, as is the anointing of the sick, as is marriage. And I cannot separate myself from that on that debate today, but I most certainly understand where individuals are coming from in regards to the state taking an action in regards that might deny them equal civil rights, and I understand that.
Ms. Sikowski?
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciated hearing some of the comments today from my colleagues, and I am very strongly in support of the motion and the recommendation from the communication from the chair. As I think has been indicated, what is put forward in this initiative is a law of exclusion. And if there's one thing that this city and generally the state in longer history had opposed were laws of exclusion. And I don't believe that that's where we should be going. And I think Mr. Fuhrer is correct in saying that polls indicate that in general the public may not be ready to support a definition of marriage in a different context. But let us also hope that the public isn't ready to preclude that. And that's what this initiative does. It precludes that option and doesn't allow the normal evolution of society and people in coming along being different today than we may have looked at things differently in the past. I appreciate Mr. Savornich's concern, and I did have a conversation with him. But the comfort level for me on this is that this is not a religious matter. And there are very often things where there are issues of civil importance, civil law, that people who have certain religious persuasions look at differently and address differently. Just as a for instance, in terms of Catholicism, divorce is not recognized, but it is civilly recognized and we allow it. So there can be and are often different thresholds and different standards in a religious community and one's religious observances that are over and above what we do as a civil society. And although there has been concern with some on the question of definition of marriage and what definition that means, in truth, as I think we have seen with people who we are close to, if something looks like a marriage, acts like a marriage, is otherwise a union that we on this city look to recognize in legal ways, in ways of medical care, and in other ways, it really is a marriage, and we ought not to be stumbling with that sense of concern about that definition. The truth is the definition is broader than we thought it was, and it should be. And I think that that's what this motion recommends, and it's directly contrary to what the initiative puts forward.
Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of council, I don't think I can add to the recommendation of the chair's recommendation, and that is to oppose this legislation, and I don't think I can add to the quality of the discussion that's been expressed by some of my colleagues. But I do feel I have to make a statement that simply says I want to oppose this legislation. I think it's exclusionary. It's not inclusionary. It goes contrary to my beliefs. And I have a clear understanding that man is not perfect, and neither is woman, and our society has to work towards getting there. And from my perspective, sometimes we tend to make laws trying to change the way things really are. And the reality is that doesn't work. And so again, I just want to rise to state my opposition of the legislation. I think it's contrary to the direction of an inclusionary society. And from my perspective, I appreciate the comments made by some of my colleagues because they clearly define the reasons why we have to oppose this legislation.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Galanter.
I feel like I'm the only one who can say this. I'm not a lesbian, I'm not married, I'm not a Christian. I support the committee report because I think that I can't understand why with all the debate about family values, here we have people who want to be a family and practice family values. And this legislation, if it were to pass, would prevent them from doing so. That's just nuts. So of course I support the committee report, and I thank you all for bringing this in. And I don't know why people do these things. It's about time we put an end to it. Let's get on with life.
Chair recognizes Councilman Goldberg.
I'll move the previous question.
All right. Is there objection to the previous question? Yes. Then open the roll on the previous question.
I want to speak.
Oh, well, it wasn't on here, Mr. Holden. Chair recognizes Councilman Holden.
Mr. President, members, this decision on the part of Mr. Savornich kind of reverberates all across the state and certainly in our community. And it's a tough one, certainly for him. But I think we have to understand the fact that here's a proposed constitution amendment that will deny, it's a negative. And with that in mind, I took my position, clearly understanding how Mr. Savornich feels, but we are opposing a proposed constitution amendment that will in fact deny someone something. It just happens to be definition of marriage initiative, which has already been clarified. And I have 6 minutes, Mr. President. I'm the chairman. Well, you're lost then. Yeah. But the fact of the matter, Mr. President, is that when I was president of the California Democratic Council, we got the votes. President of the California Democratic Council, we didn't have a gay caucus. And a guy named Jim Foster came to see me. He says, we are being denied the right to address the council, and we don't have a caucus as everyone else does. So they have a caucus, then and now. When Willie Brown was the assemblyman representing San Francisco, for 10 years he tried to get the consenting adults legislation enacted into law. And there were people who were denying it that right and been rejected and rejected and rejected. And so I became the swing vote after a long consideration. And when this happened, this proposal by Mr. Führer, and we had a 1 hour plus hearing, I was impressed by Ms. Sperber and the others who spoke for more than an hour before the committee, explaining how this initiative would be discriminatory and should not be enacted into law. The pain that showed in her face as she explained about her 2 daughters and their relationship and then subsequent marriage, and her son could not enjoy the same rights and privileges. That was pain that I saw. And in one of my faces, one of my colleagues, tears came to their eyes as they explained their situation. Mr. Ferrara, every time everybody has talked, you can be dismissed. The fact that no, his time is not up. All right, I moved the previous question. You can go now.
Chair,
I ask for an aye vote.
Chair recognizes Councilman Burnson. He's the last person.
I think it's unfortunate that we're put in this situation of having to deal with this on a city level. That's my big problem. I think I've supported equal rights for everybody in this council, but I have a lot of problems in voting for something that I think is going to involve us in something that maybe we should not be doing as a city. And that's my only problem. So I may have a little difficulty in supporting this.
All right, open the roll on item 23. Close the roll.
9 ayes, 2 noes.
That's approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Item number 38, called special. You have cards on the item.
All right. Who called number 38 special? Okay. I'll call the people in the order that I have the cards. Is it Sebastian, is it Hitzlow, followed by Stephen Gallegos? Wait.
Good morning. Sebastian Hitzig. I'm glad to be here today. I want to share a little bit of my story and tell you why I'm in favor of this motion. October 14th, 1995, my life was changed forever. I like to say for the best. I was rushed to the hospital with one of the worst cases of endocarditis that Harbor UCLA had ever seen. Many didn't think I was going to make it. Friends and family from all over the country came to say their final goodbyes. Only 2 days prior, I'd been mountain biking in the Santa Monica Mountains. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do anything that endangered my life. I didn't do anything that should have caused this condition. But 14 hours of open heart surgery, 2 strokes, an aortic valve replacement, and the insertion of a dual-chambered pacemaker, I had made it through what many people had said that I wouldn't. 94 days later, 2 days before Christmas, I was released and began the arduous task of rehabilitation. I had lost close to 40 pounds, had to walk with crutches, and had both physical and mental deficits that I'd never dreamed that I'd have to deal with at the age of 24. I began light workouts at the gym, and although I was forced to go back to the hospital 4 or 5 times because of a reoccurring infection, I thought I was through the worst. Until the afternoon of October 26th, a little over a year after I was brought to the hospital. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was wrapping up my workout. I had 1 exercise left to do. I had just finished my final set, and I went into full cardiac arrest. I was very lucky. I was working out next to a person who was trained in CPR, and across the room was a doctor. They began immediate CPR. After 4 minutes, they got a slight heartbeat, and then they lost it. 3 minutes later, the heroes, personal heroes of mine from Rescue 63, showed up and hit me with a portable defibrillator, just like the ones that we are going to be discussing today. I was brought back to life, and I was very, very lucky. CPR had failed me, but the automated defibrillator that these skilled paramedics had used that day restored my heartbeat instantly. The device was invaluable to me in my time of need. My father, who is here with me today, had the opportunity to spend a day aboard this Trident submarine that was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Fascinated by the fact that the sub would head out to sea, turn off the engines, and sit still for 6 months to avoid detection, he asked the captains whether or not they had an automated defibrillator on board. The captain looked at my father, smiled as though he were crazy. Do you have any idea how much those devices cost? $3,000 the devices cost, and they're very simple to use. And the percentage of survival for someone who goes into cardiac arrest, as I did on the streets of Los Angeles, has the possibility of jumping from 5% to as high as 70%. And I ask you how you can put a price on that. I don't think that you can. I ask that today you start the ball rolling, and that you begin the study of putting these devices in public places. Thank you very much.
Could you put, Stephen Gallegos?
Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Stephen Gallegos. I'm the Director of Public Advocacy for the American Heart Association here in Los Angeles. Heart disease, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of American, more women than men, and claims more than 41% of the 2.3 million Americans who die each year. I'd like to thank Sebastian Heitzig for coming today to relay his personal story to the council, and I'd like the council to please consider this motion and to pass it along to committee so that we can get along with saving more lives here in Los Angeles. The AEDs, the automated external defibrillators, are a very important step in helping us to be able to save the lives of not just the people who undergo cardiovascular disease, but rather to help them save their families from the devastation which occurs when a family member dies. So I would be very willing to come and to offer statistics and more testimony in committee for this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That completes the public hearing. Members of council, anyone wishing to speak? Chair recognizes Councilman Savornich.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Last week, we honored the American Heart Association, February being Heart Month, and at that time I was able to hold up for you the size of an automatic external defibrillator, which is about the size of this notebook right here, but for the cost of $3,000 each, we could be strategically placing these instruments with a minimal amount of training in city facilities where the public meets in order to save lives. The statistics were very compelling, is that for every moment that a heart defibrillates, which means it just wiggles in place, it doesn't beat, it just quivers, for every minute that that happens, your chance of survival decreases 10%. That if someone had a cardiac arrest in the next moment here in this council chamber, the preponderance of our being able to save them is maybe 20 to 30%. By the time the paramedic got here, by the time they got up to the elevator, by the time they started to treat the patient, you'd only have a 20 to 30% chance of survival. And CPR doesn't work. CPR does not work when your heart starts to quiver. It doesn't work. And so, Mr. President, members of the council, the motion asked that as part of the budget process, and I would ask my colleagues on the budget committee that we identify funds to strategically place these devices across the city, and to ask the fire department to come back in 45 days to Public Safety Committee, that indeed this council could set in motion an action that for a minimal cost each, we could save lives across the city of Los Angeles, a life that we have a young gentleman here in the audience who was saved because of a paramedic ambulance coming with this type of equipment to the site but just think how many more lives that we could save at senior centers, in gymnasiums, and in public facilities across the city of Los Angeles if we had this instrument available. I would ask for your aye vote, and I would look for this funding for these deployment of these devices in this year's budget.
All right, without further discussion, open the roll, close the roll.
10 ayes.
And that matter is approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Next item, Mr. President, special one, motion brought in by Councilmember Goldberg.
All
The
right.
city attorney will explain the
Would the city
findings.
attorney please give us the findings?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. On February 7th, 1999, Paul Edward Johnson was shot to death on an MTA bus that was stopped at the corner of Highland and Hollywood Boulevard. The police have a description, but so far they have been unable to find the suspect. They are asking for this award, this amount of money, so that the reward, so that the community, somebody will come forward with more leads, and therefore the council needs to make the finding that the need to act arose after the posting of the agenda and that there is an immediate need to act.
All right, open the roll on the findings, close the roll.
10 ayes.
Matters before us. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Goldberg.
Yes, this is a situation where a suspect boarded the bus at Lancashire and Magnolia, and then after an exchange of words with Mr. Johnson, took a seat at the rear of the bus. And then when the bus stopped at Hollywood and Highland, the suspect fired several gunshots at the victim and then exited the bus and ran east on Hollywood Boulevard. They believe, the police do, that this person could be found. They're getting a composite picture right now, but they believe that there were enough people who saw the incident and who also saw the person running that they will be able to find them, but they believe the reward will be necessary to get people to come forward. So I would urge an aye vote on this matter.
All right, open the roll, members of council, close the roll.
10 ayes.
That item is approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
This is the time for comments from the public on non-agenda items.
All right, I'll call the people who have submitted cards. Leonard Rose and Larry Ross. Is Mr. Rose here?
I got a letter from a MTA and a bus company here in Los Angeles, and they thank you for that letter I sent. And it's a very important. Dear City Council member, I would like you to make a speech about my many transportation concern of safety rule, all driver, and have more job opening of many opportunity transportation job, and make few job training program for driver, and many opportunity transportation and training program. I would like you to talk to the mayor, have more job opening for any job opening in California. When I give you 100% job and job training program, all different job working together is helping hand. When next few weeks I deal many job opening employment to hire extra people, like now hiring help wanted, employment opportunity, sign, newspaper, book wanted, etc. It's hiring extra substitute worker, like school district have substitute worker for vacation and when they are sick, to hire extra people. Now bus transportation need tight security, safety for all driver. I believe MTA and foothill bus trains should have video camera or camera taking picture of those who are breaking the rules, like drinking, eating, smoking, radio, loud music, the passenger people, evangelism, riding window seats, the bus who are breaking the rules on the bus or train should have camera of that person who is breaking the rules on the bus, train, number, how many a day and night every day. Bus driver not know it, but camera prove it. $250 fine if they get caught, and have ID, driver license proved by DMV department and police department prove it. who breaking the rules on the bus or train, and their ticket will be on the way to the mailbox to go to court to pay big fine. Save the bus driver not to get hurt or killed if they turn it to themselves, if their life kind of danger, if they tell somebody, but camera that prove it and will identify it. Also need more police guard and policemen, women, make sure the driver are safe. They afraid to tell the truth. It's up to you guys to make a right decision. And I made copies of MTA Foothill bus. I got a letter from a bus company in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Larry Ross? I can't, Larry.
Hi, I'm Larry Ross. Today, as I stood at the bus stop waiting for the arrival of the bus, an individual approached at me, and the individual handed at me this. And it is addressed to the Inglewood Park Cemetery, P.O. Box 6042, Inglewood, California, zip code 90312-9973. I don't know what importance or import I should place on this, but on the back it says, please supply me with the following 3 items. It says family emergency record booklet, a will kit, cemetery property prices. It says $255 gift certificate, pre-need planning, and mausoleum information. I remember back in '97, I believe it was, in April, I came before the city council members, and I stated to them that on that same morning, as I was stepping off the curb on 7th and Broadway, a car was heading, I believe, east on 7th Avenue, but turned onto Broadway, and came very close to hitting me. Once again, I was not overly concerned about the situation, but I was concerned. And once again, I'm going on record today that I was handed at this information as I stood at the bus stop without any explanation being given by the individual. And before I had a chance to look at it, he had walked it away. Yesterday, I appeared before the County Board of Supervisors, and I made known to them once again how the hypocrisy. They go on record by saying that they are so concerned with the citizens of the County of Los Angeles. They are so concerned about the public safety and welfare that they want better laws to protect citizens. They want the Constitution to be respected. They want civil rights of individuals to be respected. But their very actions, I told them, contradicts their words. And some words were spoken that they weren't very flattering. But once again, coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. Once again, I have gone on record here before this board, before the city council members, and stating how my constitutional rights and my civil rights have been violated. And just today, just minutes ago, some of the city council members have stood and stated how they want justice, they want equality for all. But how can you have justice and equality for all when you are fervently denying justice to one? It is impossible. So once again, it brings an air of hypocrisy to their statements. If you know that someone is undergoing persecution, someone is being denied justice, how can you stand before anyone and say that you want justice for all, that you want equality for all? I have stated it repeatedly. My words, My ideas, my projects are being ripped off by individuals, have gone on record to list them, such as DC Comic, Marvel Comics, 103.9 FM radio, KBIG 104, Channel 13, Channel 11, Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 5, Channel 4, and Channel 2, amongst others. But yet nothing has been done. And these people are operating within the county area and the city area. But yet they are being allowed to do so, which in the face of the law and would dictate and indicate your agreement with such illegal practices. So the question is, how much longer will this injustice or these injustices continue? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. That closes the public hearing. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Motions for posting and referral.
All right, those will be duly posted and referred. Next order.
You have excuses on the desk. Councilmember Burnson requests to be excused Wednesday, February 17th, to leave at 10:45. City business meets council policy.
Approved.
Councilmember Ridley Thomas requests to be excused for tomorrow's special meeting. City business meets council policy.
It's going to be some special meeting. Okay, approved.
Councilmember Wax requests to be excused Friday, February 19th, to leave at 11:30. Personal business meets council policy.
That's approved. That's instead of, I had originally put that in, and I think you marked it for the 16th, and I'm going to be here on the 16th. It's supposed to be the 19th, yeah. Okay, next order.
That clears the desk, Mr. President.
All right, are there any adjourning motions, members of council? All right, would the audience and the council please rise for adjourning motions? Mr. Burns?
Yes, members of the council, I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Connie Sircosta. She's the mother of Camille Calamine and mother-in-law of Larry Calamine, and she's survived by a number of grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
I want to second that, Ms. Galanter.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Mrs. Marion Wilson Workman, who was a resident of Westchester, very active in the local PTA, the Westchester Mental Health Guild, and a number of other organizations. She's survived by her husband of 37 years, James, 4 children, 5 grandchildren. And a lot of people are going to miss her.
Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Mr. President, members of the council, I ask that we adjourn in the name of 2 people. First, Maria Isabel Fernandez, and many of us have read about her death. She was a Pasadena college student who was stabbed 46 times. And the reality is, I don't think people have really known what Maria was about. She basically was an elementary school teacher at a very young age. She was 17 years old, but was a renowned flamenco dancer. In fact, she was voted the Dancer of the Year in the calendar section of the LA Times. She was a dance instructor, and she taught at San Diego last summer and had been teaching out of Pomona for the last 8 months. And so she had a great talent that was lost to a very violent crime. The other person I asked that we adjourn the name of is a very close friend of mine, someone who I met at the National League of Cities on the Fair Steering Committee, and that was Councilman Bill Six from Vienna, West Virginia. And you need to understand that he was he was on city council in 1959 and 61, and then reelected in 93 and 97 with the largest votes, was a past labor organizer, as well as a very close friend of all the people at the Fair Committee. Mr. Six, for some reason, chose to kind of take me under his wing, especially when I was dealing with my personal problems, and encouraged me. And he'll be sorely missed.
Mr. Ferraro and I would both like to join you on that.
Thank you. And he leaves his wife, Eleanor, who he'd been married to for basically 48 years, and his children and grandchildren.
Are there any others? Call the roll, Madam Clerk. Council is adjourned.